Well, the civil trial against former President Donald Trump and his family and his entire business empire, quite frankly, continuing today right here in New York City as Attorney General Letitia James follows through on a campaign promise seeking to make her case that the Trump organization somehow fraudulently overvalued its assets. Fired up Donald Trump sounding off outside the trial room. Listen to this.
The former president, the leading candidate, I'm leading Joe Biden by a lot, which is probably why this is all happening. Not probably, why, it's definitely. They're coordinating with Washington, 100%. But without that, none of these cases would be going on. They've weaponized justice in our country. This trial is a disgrace.
Well, joining me now is one man weathering the storm right next to his old man, Eric Trump. Eric, I'm sorry you're going through this, brother, but you know, what happened today? What's going on with this? And you've already beaten 80% of this based on statute of limitations. So what else is going on?
The whole thing's corrupt. Listen, Carl, New York's a corrupt state. Everybody knows that at this point, right? You have a corrupt attorney general who literally ran on the campaign promise of taking down my father. She goes, I'm going to go after Donald. I'm going to take down his family. I'm going to go after his children. I'm going to get, her exact quote, I'm going to get to the office of attorney general every day. I'm going to sue Donald Trump, and then I'm going to go home. I mean, she'd fundraise off of this nonsense. Like, this was her entire platform going after Donald, right after my father. Then obviously she gets into office and she does exactly that. And you've got a crooked court and everything else. But actually, I think we're making a breakthrough with the judge. I think they're trying to realize there are no victims. First of all, my father's statements are undervalued, not overvalued. Second of all, she's going after banks. She's trying to protect banks that made hundreds of millions of dollars with Trump, meaning there were no aggrieved party. There were no defaults. There were no
you guys made
loan
money.
covenants.
You guys made money.
Well,
that's why
we
she
would
hates
borrow.
you.
We'd borrow money.
Yeah.
You know, go do a great project. You know, be very successful.
Jobs and homes.
Pay a tremendous amount of interest, and then pay the banks back in full. Like, we never had so much as a default. No one. So we're sitting there saying, is there a victim in this? I mean, you're suing us and there's no victim, but Carl, it's nonsense. The DOJ has told Letitia James to make my father's life hell, to keep him tied up in a courtroom, to cost him tens and tens of millions of dollars, to distract him, right? And you know what? He walks in there, and the amount of press there was incredible. And the entire country understands what's happening to my father, not just by Jack Smith, but by Letitia, by all the cronies, by the people in Washington, D.C., by the people in Georgia. They have weaponized the legal system to go after Donald Trump. It didn't work when he was in the White House because you have executive branch protections. Right. As soon as he gets out of the White House, you go after him civilly, you go after criminally, you take him down, you distract him, you try and weaken him. And honestly, it's a law of unintended consequences. I think they're just actually making him stronger.
Well, the polls reflect that. He's up by like 50 points in the Republican primary right now. But they also think that they're showing him 10 points over Joe Biden in some of these things. If they continue, like, are they just so blind in hatred that they are just going to continue to do this? Because, and the other thing I want to ask is, all these Republicans who aren't supporting him right now, did they understand that if your dad got out of the way, it would be them on the chopping block?
Well, it's kind of like the miraculous thing, the last debate, right, which was a total snooze fest. And it was, but they didn't even bring this up. They don't even bring up the weaponization of government. And I always say that, you know, say Ron DeSantis, and Ron DeSantis is totally gone, right? I think his actual political career is over. But say Ron DeSantis ever got it, they would go after him. They would go after his wife. They would go after his young daughters, as young as they are. They will do anything. These people are savages. Now, Ron doesn't have the bank account to fight these guys off. He doesn't have the voice to fight them off. He doesn't have the backbone. And that's where you get the rhinos in the Republican Party.
Yeah.
What happens is they just cave to conformity because otherwise they'll be smashed into the ground like a nail. The difference with my father is the harder they hit him, the harder he hit back. Now, my father has the pocketbook, thankfully, otherwise you wouldn't stand a chance, right? To pay for the 10 lawyers you see on the stand. He has a really, really loud voice. He's got a great media presence, and that's the one thing that's kept him alive. But none of the other Republicans have that. They would destroy anybody else on the stage in 2.5 seconds. And my father really is the first and only line of defense for 100+ million Americans who they want to censor, they want to deplatform, they want to disarm, they want to go after, they want to take away their rights, their liberties, their freedoms, their voice. My father is a one-man wrecking ball that keeps the lunacy and the tyranny from hitting those 100 million, and it's why he's beloved by people in this country.
Yeah, well, let's move over to the House a little bit here, because obviously there's some Republicans who are firmly behind you. There's some who's not. And I don't really call this ousting of McCarthy a Trump movement. I think they're two separate things. But what's your feeling on the fact, because you guys had a pretty good relationship with McCarthy at the time.
Still do.
Yeah, so what's your feeling?
And a great relationship with Gates.
Yeah, I mean, what's your feeling on where this is going? Is it going in the right direction? How can your father help? Because he's influential.
Listen, I think he'll do anything to help. He wants to see the Republican Party actually coalesce together and fight Joe Biden, as opposed to, it's one mistake we make as Republicans. And when I say we, I think my father's the one person who didn't do this. He actually coalesced Republicans, but they always fight themselves. They never actually point the guns toward the enemy. They point the guns to themselves. Now, do I think it was a mistake not shutting down government? 100%. They should. You know what? Our deficits are trillions, $2 trillion a year. They don't do a damn thing about border security. They give away money to every stupid cause in the world, while our schools and our roads. The courthouse I was in today, it was disgusting, Carl. It smells. You had cables running across all the walls. It's a disgrace, meaning the fact that that's a representation of our legal system in this country. But you see the same thing at airports. I mean, how often do you fly through an airport and you've got acoustical tile ceilings that are falling down, right? But yet we're running a
driving around in New York City on the roads.
$1 trillion deficit, and our bridges are falling down, our roads suck, and our trains are antiquated. They're from 1950s. You look at China, where they're building these bullet trains that go 300 miles an hour. We're falling behind the rest of the world, and that's before you get to 5G. That's before you get to tech infrastructure that actually makes businesses run. It's before you get to so many other things, and we still have a $2 trillion deficit, because guess what? Every single day we're sending another $100 billion over the Ukraine to fight these wars and protect other people's borders, and we don't do a damn thing about our own.
Yeah.
And so I think my feeling is, at some point, when are you going to stand up and stop allowing that to happen? Like, when are you going to put your kind of flag in the sand and say, we're going to start representing America first? And it's tough.
Real quick before I let you go, your dad's name's been floated for speaker. Would he take it? Is he motioning for it? Come on.
I mean, personally, I think it'd be the coolest damn thing in the entire world. I would make sure he got a bigger gavel than the small little one that they have. Like, I think Trump needs you could make it. You're a good craftsman, like a huge gavel. But honestly, I think he would bring the party together in a great way. He has tremendous respect among that body. He has tremendous respect for a lot of the people in there. But we need to start fighting the actual enemy, which is a crooked president and a crooked family who has profited for far too long off the United States of America. We got to start pointing our guns at them instead of ourselves. And typical Republicans, that the infighting, and especially in an election year, meaning we're coming into the election. We better start fighting the Democrats and bad policies, and stop screwing around with ourselves.
I'm in. Eric, pleasure.
It's good to see you.
All right. There you heard it, folks. Coming up.